for more on the racetrack, as the first heat is about to get underway, let's go to our pal, Gary Gerald, who's got a great vantage point.
Well, Brock, when you talk about race conditions, drivers love Knoxville for a couple of reasons. You can still see there's plenty of moisture. That's one of the things they like. It's usually a heavy clay, which means you hook it up, you use all the horsepower you can muster. This is a high-speed half-mile racetrack. It's also very roomy, 60 to 80 feet in width. A lot of room to race. And when you're going this fast in open-wheel race cars, you want that extra room. The mechanics now of the heat races, 5 heats, 10 laps apiece. The key here, inverted starts. Fastest men at the back of the field. And as this first heat is about to get underway, keep an eye on the 5M car. It's Mark Kinzer outside row 5. He's the fast qualifier of the night, and he wants to go straight to the front. Steve?
Well, Gary, Brock, it sounds like we've got all the ingredients for one heck of a night of World of Outlaws competition. And especially the fact that Gary just mentioned that all 10 are inverted, not just the first couple of rows. It's inverted back to front.
Right, Steve, and of course, as Gary mentioned, Mark Kinzer, the hot young man tonight, is starting out on the way at the back in the 5M automobile, that blue and white car. Right next to him, the number 7 car, that white car of Andy Hillenberg out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, also a fine young charger in the World of Outlaws competition.
Well, the challenge here in this heat race is to be in the top 4 when the checkered flag flies. That means you go directly to the A main, don't have to run any of the consolation.
All right, Doug Clark, the starting is in the green flag and down into turn number 1. It is a great start by the 1M automobile of Pat Moore, and he takes the lead instantly.
And look at the 7 car, the white machine of Andy Hillenberg, and also 5M, that is Mark Kinzer in the blue and white car. He was the quickest car in qualifying, is already showing that muscle.
There's Kinzer sliding down into turn number 1, and right ahead of him, the white number 7 of Andy Hillenberg. They lie 4th and 5th right now, but it's Pat Moore in the 1M still leading it as they come down the front straightaway.
66, Mike Jones, 56, Danny Smith falling in behind him.
But here comes Hillenberg and Kinzer. That's the 66 car of Mike Jones being bracketed by those two as they charge toward the front.
Andy Hillenberg, the white number 7 car, down on the inside from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. You'll remember him in his black cars all last year. Well, this is a paid ride here. He's a hired gun now.
And he's showing some real muscle as Mark Kinzer is having real problems getting underneath. And that is the 56 car of Danny Smith being overtaken now by Hillenberg. And now Mark Kinzer slides by as well. So these two guys charging toward the front, side by side down into turn number 1. And Mark Kinzer gets underneath Hillenberg.
And coming out of that corner, Kinzer just immediately stretched out his lead over Hillenberg by 2 car lengths. As the laps tick by, remember there's only 10. If you're not in the top 4, the pressure becomes greater and greater.
So Mark Kinzer still moving up through this field past Pat Moore to take the lead with real authority. Although Moore comes back at him. Moore not giving up, but Mark Kinzer obviously enormous power down these short straightaways, and he is opening his lead.
And this is truly a horsepower racetrack tonight. You can use everything you've got in your hands and in your foot. Pat Moore and Andy Hillenberg, the 1M car and the 7 car for the 2nd spot.
And we got a yellow flag. Doug Clark waving the yellow as we slow the field down here. That'll rebunch everybody, give everybody another shot at Mark Kinzer, but I don't know, Steve. The way he was flying, I'm afraid this is a done deal unless he encounters mechanical problems.
Usually you send the yellow out for an accident, not so here. Some debris on the racetrack. In fact, a torsion bar. Had somebody run over that, there could have been a disaster. Stay with us from Knoxville.
Back at Knoxville, Iowa, where we get some support from the Cornhuskers from Nebraska. I'm Brock Yates along with Steve Evans and Gary Gerald. And Steve, it looks as if 66 was the offending automobile. That's Mike Jones. He lost the torsion bar, and that puts him at the back of the pack with a crippled machine.
Oh, but the driver to watch is at the front of the pack. Mark Kinzer, the 5M car. Pat Moore has really done a good job of staying with him so far than Andy Hillenberg in that 3rd spot. Kinzer is gone, but look at Hillenberg.
He blows by Pat Moore to take 2nd spot. And look at this race for 3rd between 56 Danny Smith, the 1M of Pat Moore, and the orange 21 is Steve Beitler.
Well, Steve Beitler is trying to get around Moore to secure himself that 4th position. As I said before, nobody wants to go to the B feature, as Brock described at one time, the Siberia of motorsports. You want to be in the top 4 here, you've got to be.
Well, there's Beitler trying down into turn number 3. But then he moves up on the high side. Pat Moore down low. Beitler around. And Moore successfully blocks a good job as they head down into turn number 1. Beitler takes another shot at him. Will it work? Yeah, they come off onto the back straightaway, nose to nose, and still Pat Moore, a little bit more horsepower, Steve, holds onto that position for him.
And Beitler's car, the orange and blue machine number 21, is not handling quite as well. And he's only got one more circuit, and there he goes, right underneath Moore. Moore went too high, and it was devastating to his effort.
Right, Pat Moore got way up in the marbles as Mark Kinzer takes the checkered flag with real authority, winning by a wide margin. Here comes Beitler trying to hold on to that 4th spot, and he will take the transfer position. Pat Moore heads for the B main. So Mark Kinzer wins it. Andy Hillenberg 2nd, Danny Smith in the 3rd spot, and Steve Beitler finishes in the 4th transfer spot. You know, these automobiles carry no starters. They are push-started by a gang of pickup trucks that hang around in the pits between each heat. Some of them are pretty ordinary. Others, well, they're a little weird, as Steve found out.
In that sprint cars don't carry batteries or starter motors, they have to be push-started. So at Knoxville, in any sprint car race, there's always a platoon of pickup trucks and 4-wheel drives. A lot of dedicated people who use their own vehicles to help the show go along and get them quite dirty to boot. But every once in a while, we run across a single-purpose vehicle built to do this. And when push comes to shove, what you need is the nudge. Now, the nudge started life as a '67 Dodge Dart. Fellow was taking it to the junkyard, didn't have a title, so they wouldn't take it. Probably a story there in itself. But Louis Bra of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, he knew exactly what to do with it. Took it off the street, stripped the body, and made a plywood body using the V8 engine. Now, it looks awfully light. How could it work in the mud? Let me show you. Louis is a pretty crafty guy. Here at the back, underneath the fuel tank, Louis poured a ½ a yard of concrete. So the concrete is ballast, gasoline is ballast, and then each of the rear tires weighs 300 pounds because instead of air, they are full of fluid. All in all, it'll get the job done under any conditions.
The fans love the nudge, you bet. But they love Mark Kinzer, Andy Hillenberg, Danny Smith, Steve Beitler, and Pat Moore even more. Remember now, the first 4 will transfer to the main. And now let's go to Gary with the man who dominated that heat.
Well, here's our first winner of the night, fast time qualifier and winner of the first heat, Mark Kinzer. You made it look relatively easy coming from the back.
Well, it might not have been as easy as it looked. You know, I had Andy Hillenberg, Danny Smith in my heat, and they're nothing to sneeze at. And Jimmy Jones and Tubes have been doing a real good job setting the car up. Ken Jenkins and Chuck Merle's here, and everything's going real good. And Clyde Lamar's all the way from here from California to watch me race, and we're a happy crew right now.
All right, let's check on our second place finisher with Brock.
Well, Gary, I'm with Andy Hillenberg, who ran a good, stout 2nd place, but Mark just seemed to be really hooked up.
Yeah, he was. He was really going well. I think he might have had a little taller gear than we were. He had a little more momentum. I seemed to pick him up just a little bit off the corners, but he was pulling me down the straightaway and in the corner, and it helped him pick up some time.
In the main, the way that you know this racetrack's going to lay in, are you going to stay with the gear you got, or are you going to go to a taller one?
I don't think so. I think we'll have to go to a taller gear because the cars are going to move up on the racetrack. It's going to make a much faster race. And we'll probably tighten the race car up a little bit. It won't be wiggling quite as much and moving around on the racetrack.
Good job. Congratulations.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Andy Hillenberg.
And of course, a taller gear means more speed at the same RPM. That'll be a driver to watch later on in the evening. Right now, we've got 10 more in heat number 2. Same drill, inverted. The quick cars in the back row.
Well, we got some of the under guys up front, but the man to watch is way at the back, the 1A automobile, the man out of Pennsylvania, scruffy Bobby Allen. And he is going to cut through this field, I would imagine, with some real authority. Ricky Hood and Tommy Estes are fine young drivers. They're going to be tough to handle. Jeff Jones, though, well, he's going to have to watch, I would imagine, Bobby Allen right beside him charge through this field. Allen, they call the original outlaw, the guy that used to do all the big shows around the country. And I'll tell you what, watch him come as the green is out.
And as they blaze down into turn number 1 and out of turn number 2, it's a pair of white cars. 85, Bobby Markham, and 28, Gary Lee Mayer.
Gary Lee Mayer begins to smoke a little bit already, so he's got some problems, even though he continues to run in the 2nd spot.
Well, he's still got a whole heck of a lot of power, so maybe it's a leaking valve cover gasket down onto an exhaust system, something simple, but you can bet they'll be watching him from the starter stand.
So the 28 car still holds on to second, but look at Tommy Estes Jr. came out of the second to the last row to take over third spot in that red 97, and he is flying. But meanwhile, the race for fourth tightens up. The red and yellow 55 of Jeremy Speck is being challenged by the 6D, the white car of David Horton, and he blows by to take over that fourth position.
Boy, Speck just bubbled a little bit, and that's all it took for David Horton to take advantage and tag in on the end of the transfers. But where is 1A Bobby Allen? There is Bobby Allen. A little slower to move up than we thought he would be, Brock. He's now in the 6th spot. Got 2 more to go just to transfer.
Yeah, he's got some work cut out for him. We thought he'd move right to the front like Mark Kinzer did. There's Tommy Estes challenging Gary Lee Meyer for second place. Meyer continues to smoke and now is slowing down and heading for the pits. Obviously popped an engine there. He stayed in there as long as he could, but now is out of the race and obviously out for the night.
Well, I would guess his oil pressure gauge is reading 0. All right, there is no caution, so the war continues here for the 3rd spot. That is the black car, the 01W of Tim Monson. The white machine of 60 is David Horton. Horton trying to hold on to that 4th spot, and here comes Bobby Allen. Bobby Allen on the inside of Horton. Bobby Allen trying to get a transfer spot, and he doesn't.
So he feels a little bit better, I'm sure, right now, but the battle is far from over between the 39 automobile of Ricky Hood, who's challenging David Horton now in the white 60 and gets by him.
Horton way up high into the marbles and tags the wall, rear end first. Ooh, then he gets the front end. An awful lot of damage to that car, even though it stayed right side up. As you well know, Brock, on a scale of 10 in the world of outlaws, that was about a 2.
Well, the caution is out, which is going to slow everybody up. Horton is okay. There's no question about that. He's unbuckling his belt. So he is finished probably for the night. He may get it hooked back up and into the B main. But right now, David Horton is obviously concerned about that. Maybe a little loss of concentration as he got it into the bench right after he was passed by Ricky Hood.
Well, Brock, as we take another look, you'll see that Horton is way up too high. You want just the rear drive wheel in that cushion, not the whole car in that loose dirt, because it's just like you're on ice. First the rear end, then the front end. The front wing knocked off the automobile. You saw that on the right-hand side of your picture, and ooh, there was about another $200 nudge into the wall. So other than some bent-up suspension and some wheels possibly, Horton is okay, and it won't take a whole lot to fix this car. These are very durable machines, and that kind of a brush with the wall is just considered, well, part of the fortunes of outlaw sprint car racing. No big deal, I'm sure Horton would tell you, who is right now with Brock Gates. Brock?
Well, David, I know you got to be disappointed. What happened?
Well, it's going off in a turn, steering broke, and it's slamming right into the wall.
Nothing you can do when you lose that whole thing.
No, I've got power steering fluid all over me right now. It's just one of them deals, I guess. Tear up a lot of stuff.
Well, as long as you're okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay.
I told you, it's just one of them deals. Well, David explains the problem. It was a lack of steering. And even for an outlaw, that'll really ruin your evening. We'll be back to Knoxville for the restart of heat number 2.
Back in Knoxville, Iowa for more World of Outlaws Skoal Shootout action. We've got 1 lap to go to green after they cleaned up the David Horton crash. Bobby Markham continues to lead, but Tommy Estes Jr. in that 97 has been really moving, Steve, as has Bobby Allen, who started in the back row.
The guy I don't envy is Ricky Hood, the number 39, the yellow car, back in that 5th position. To get a transfer spot, he's got to try to pass Bobby Allen, and that's never easy.
You got it. Green is out as we watch Bobby Markham lead him down into turn number 1. There's Tommy Estes Jr. in the red 97, but Bobby Allen has already jumped past Tim Monson to take over 3rd spot and now challenges Estes for 2nd.
Tommy Estes, the number 97 car, the red machine in the 2nd spot. Bobby Allen on the inside down the main straightaway and out muscles it.
And down and low into turn number 1. He is going to go by Bobby Markham as well to take the lead. So Bobby Allen, who's kind of sat back there in the opening laps of this heat, just kind of wandered around in 5th, 6th, and 7th, suddenly makes his move on the last lap upcoming here in the 2nd heat.
And here they duke it up for the 2nd position. Red 97, Tommy Estes Jr. on the outside. 85 is Bobby Markham. Markham stays high. Estes goes low. A heck of a fight for that 2nd position. But up front it is Bobby Allen taking the checkered flag. And it is Tommy Estes Jr. holding off the hard-charging Sargent, Bobby Markin in the 85 car to pick up the second spot. Markin is third, and Ricky Hood did get in there for a transfer spot in the 39 machine.
So Bobby Allen in the 1A kind of sat back there for a while. We didn't think he was going to make that kind of charge, and right at the end, he moves into the winner circle here in heat number 2. An impressive display, but nothing like Mark Kinzer did in the first heat when he charged right to the front.
Well, Bobby Allen went out there and took no chances. He knew all he had to be was fourth, and to win it is just a bonus for him. He's a very conservative racer in the heats. He doesn't have a lot of equipment. If he breaks something, well, he'll suffer for it. Well, if he broke anything, it's his helmet. Trying to get out of the car. Gary's there.
Well, the man who holds the track record at Knoxville comes out of here with a big smile on his face. Bobby Allen, it took a few laps to kind of get things in motion, but then when it happened real quick.
Yeah, I know I was running fast. When the car's a little bit together and sideways, I'm a little bit more timid than other guys. You know, I'm not quite as young as they are, and I take my time till it looks real good, and then I can go for it.
Tell us about the racetrack, and what are you thinking maybe by main event time?
It seems like it's a good racetrack tonight. It's got a high groove and a low groove. It's slick in the middle, and it makes it where you got to kind of watch what you're doing, but yet you can still go fast if you got everything right.
All right, Brock?
Well, Gary, I'm with Tommy Estes Jr. ran a good stout second, but I'll tell you what, you guys were really going at it for the first half of that race.
Yeah, we had a good race there, you know. And that restart, the first one kind of fell asleep on, I guess, and they let it go. And Bobby snuck by us both, and it's hard to run Bobby down.
Yeah, he was sneaky. He was kind of sitting back there in third, fourth for a long time, and then all of a sudden he was out front.
He's good at that, you know. I've raced with him enough, and once he gets out front, you ain't catching him.
Well, good job. You're all set for the feature at least.
Hopefully, we're supposed to start on the front row. Hope we have some good luck.
Go get him.
Thanks.
Heat number 3 is already out and idling around this racetrack. Everybody bringing their aluminum replica Chevy V8s up to engine temperature. Remember, they run on alcohol fuel, so they run very, very cool. And here again, the entire heat is inverted, so the people to watch will be way at the back of the pack, and especially young Stevie Smith. We heard Doug Wolfgang give him a fine compliment at the very top of the show, and when Wolfie says you're good, well, you ain't bad.
You better believe it. Shane Carson in the 12 automobile, $12 sign, is a hot runner. We've seen him run very successfully before, but Stevie Smith in the red 77 acknowledged to be one of the future stars in the world of outlaw by virtually everybody.
Taught by his father, who is still a very competitive sprint car driver all over the Pennsylvania circuit.
All right, the field formed up, coming down to take the green in heat number 3. Bill Duesenberg and Nick Lasasso in the front row. Lasasso moves through on the outside, as does Randy Martin in the yellow 14 as they lead it down into turn number 2.
And here's the red car, Stevie Smith Jr. trying to come through that pack. But the man who has made the big move from the back, the $12 sign car, the white machine of Jane Carson.
Well, look at this race for third, a mob scene. Lasasso, the 9 car, Rich Bubeck, and the 20K of Bill Duesenberg, battling it out down through turns number 1 and 2.
And the 77 car, the red machine of Stevie Smith. He is flying on this racetrack and now challenging the number 9 white car, Rich Dubach, for that third position.
Notice that he's staying low. The 77 car down on the inside. That seems to be working for Stevie Smith at this point.
Well, the 51X car, the pick of white machine of Nick Lasasso, he has fallen back to the 6th spot, but lots of action behind him. 15 in Chris Eckert, and in 9th, Rick Haas, the 9Z white car.
Well, those guys battling, trying to move through this field as we watch Stevie Smith move underneath the 14 car, the yellow car of Randy Martin, to take over 2nd spot.
Well, Martin won't have the 3rd place spot very long if Joey Kuhn in the white 2K car has anything to say about it, and he does. Joey Kuhn now into the 3rd spot, and I'll tell you, Martin can't fall back anymore, or he'll fall back to the B main.
Okay, back to the race for the lead. Shane Carson should get himself a rearview mirror because he's now beginning to be challenged by the red 77 of Stevie Smith. There's Carson up high. Smith stays low. That seems to work beautifully for him right now. Carson showing good power on the straightaways here at Knoxville, but Stevie Smith continues to gnaw away at his lead as the white flag comes out. 1/2 mile left here, and Stevie Smith goes low for the lead, Steve.
He gets him into turn number 2. Shane Carson strikes back on the back stretch. Carson now back in the lead. Who goes high? Who goes low? It is Shane high. It is Stevie Smith low. Sweeps out in front of Shane Carson. The checkered is out. What a heat race in Knoxville. Stevie Smith it's in a classic outlaw shootout. The victor, Stevie Smith Jr., New Oxford, Pennsylvania, the new young gun.
Terrific race. The race of the night thus far. Stevie Smith, super job on the last lap to get the win. Any doubts in your mind?
Yeah, there was a couple times there. We needed to win the heat race, and we knew that. I was driving as hard as I could. I got messed up on the start, and the brakes didn't go my way, but we made up for it and got in position in the last lap, and we slid up in front of them and won the heat race.
Well, let's check in now on the second place finisher with Brock.
Well, Gary, I'm with Shane Carson, who, I'll tell you what, ran a super race, but Stevie just snuck by, and I said, when I watched, I said, maybe you could use a rear view mirror.
Yeah, Brock, I think that's one thing maybe they ought to let us run, but I don't know.
It's one of those sprint car races, though. He maybe just had a little bit more down the straights than you did.
Yeah, we've been kind of, working up to a little bit more straightaway speed. I think he may already have his straightaway speed figured out.
Well, you did a good job. Super second place. Anyway, you missed that dreaded B main anyway. That's one good part.
Well, I didn't want to get into that. Thank you.
Okay, go get it. Garrett, you're out.
And Joey Kuhn with the third place finish. Joey, I know you'd like to have been up there in that wheel-to-wheel battle for the lead between Carson and Stevie Smith. That was quite a fight right in front of you.
Yeah, that was a good race. I was just glad to get the third because this is the first time I ever even saw this place. I mean, I've never been here before, and, we're finding some things out with the car, and we're having some problems, but, we're not out to lunch anyway.
I'll say not. No way did he look like a rookie here in Knoxville. Well, here is heat number 4, Brock, and this is one the fans have really been looking forward to because their man in the orange number 8 is way at the back, Doug Wolfgang. He may be from South Dakota, but considers this to be his home dirt.
Absolutely. Doug Wolfgang, a major star here and a major favorite. As the field forms up for this fourth heat, you notice the World of Outlaws officials have cleverly scattered the top 4 stars through each one of these heats. And, of course, each one of them started at that absolute scratch position. That is now going to Doug Wolfgang in an orange 8, as you said, as we come down to take the green flag for heat number 4.
A lot of itchy throttle feet as they exit 4. Watch how quickly these high gear only machines accelerate down the front straightaway. Oh, and Doug Wolfgang gets tangled up with the 2P yellow car of Rick Montgomery. The crowd favorite starting at the back. The Wolf in an awful crash.
But there is the car, the 2P of Rick Montgomery, that took a slow roll, landed back on its wheels. And there is the Wolfgang automobile down against the inside fence. The ambulance is immediately on the scene. Neither driver moving at this point. Real concern. And let's take a look, Steve Evans, one more time as they come down instantly into it after the green flag falls.
Watch the yellow car go right over and blindside Wolfgang. Wolfgang never saw him coming. The Wolf's car into the wall hard, spins 4, 5, 6 times, and going over is 2P of Rick Montgomery. But Montgomery didn't take the shock in the car, but Wolfgang did.
Well, Steve, the big question is what caused Rick Montgomery to cut at right angles across the racetrack. Here you can see what happened. He touches wheels with Tommy Scott in the white 4S, which causes that automobile to get out of control and tag the Wolf down low. Wolfgang had merely taken the low line, didn't even see Montgomery coming, and suddenly was shoved into the fence at about 120 miles an hour.
Well, the good news is right here, Doug Wolfgang is out of the car and appears to be shaken up a bit, and you can see him grimace just a bit. He's a tough guy. He must really be hurting for it to show on his countenance. And the other driver that took a hard knock, in fact, upside down, was Rick Montgomery. There he is, obviously is okay, and trackside is Gary Gerald.
Well, this is obviously not the way anybody wants to have things happen in Knoxville. This is a high-speed racetrack, and when it happens, it's usually big time. Are you all right?
Yeah, I think so.
Can you tell us any idea what happened from
I don't
your
know.
seat?
I seen a white car come down across the front of me and then kicked everybody to the inside there, so.
Any opportunity to look at the race car and check damage?
No, not so far.
All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
All right, from a third angle, let's have a look at this dreadful accident in heat number 4 here at Knoxville. Now, if you watch very closely, you'll see the 4S white car of Tommy Scott right there on the left-hand side of that circle. Now, Rick Montgomery is in the yellow car, the 2P. Scott comes across, tags Montgomery, sends him slicing down the racetrack into the wall, and right there, that first frontal impact, that was the one that really hurt physically. The car continues to spin, tags Montgomery in the rear end as it does, and sends him flying upside down across the racetrack. Both cars severely damaged, but you can build new cars. You can't replace men like that tough guy from South Dakota. Brock?
Dougie, you okay? Your bell run pretty good, huh?
Yes, I'm all right.
You okay?
Mm-hmm.
Thank goodness for the safety equipment these men wear, particularly the neck collar in this kind of an accident. We'll be back with more from Knoxville, Iowa. Stay with us.
That is outlaw star Doug Wolfgang assuring his wife Jerry, who's here with his baby daughter Allie, was born in January, that everything is okay. But I'll tell you what, he was shaken up in that very, very tough crash against the inside wall at the start of heat number 4. Now, though, the field reformed, back on the racetrack, getting ready to go. And that is the 02 automobile of Ron Jones on the front row. Beside him, the purple 34 of Tim Deaver as they come down to take the green flag. Let's hope this start works better than the first one, Steve.
Oh, what a move by 1W. Kenny Jacobs got him right down low. But the purple car, 34 Tim Deaver, comes back at him.
Okay, there they go down into turn number 3, sliding through this racetrack, really in great shape tonight as they come down and complete the first lap.
Boy, and I'll tell you, there's a fight up front for that second position between 34 and Tim Deaver. That's that purple car, 20T Jeff Tuttle, and the white machine of Ronnie Daniels. Daniels, that 1X car, started in the back row with Wolfgang and is taking a shot right now for second position.
Ronnie Daniels, one of the Tennessee gang out of Memphis, an often underrated sprint car driver who is really good and really running right now in that second spot. But the race is for 4th. Remember, that is the transfer position. The purple 34, Tim Deaver, the 3T, Tim Lewis, and the 4S of Tommy Scott really going at it as they come down the front straightaway.
Tommy Scott, the white 4S, passes Tim Lewis and picks up that 5th position, getting around the 3T car of Lewis. That's a red, white, and blue machine, and he is still moving.
He sure is. And there is Tommy Scott going after the 34 of Tim Deaver. Can he get underneath him? Will he make it stick? Side by side down into turn 1, and Tommy Scott takes over that position.
And that is the final transfer spot. He must hang on to that if he's going to go right to the A main. And you heard Shane Carson say in his interview, I wanted no part of that B feature.
Oh, no. And that is the man doomed to the B feature right now. That is the 34 automobile of Tim Deaver. Remember now, only 2 cars will transfer out of that mock scene in the B feature into the feature race, and they'll start at the back of the pack. So it's a hard roll for anybody in the B main.
All right, here's the fight for the lead. The 1W, the red car of Kenny Jacobs. Ronnie Daniels, the 1X car, getting a bit out of shape. Daniels is losing time rather than making any up on Kenny Jacobs right now. So he gets down real low. They say the shortest distance between 2 points, right?
White flag, last lap. Ronnie Daniels takes the lead, jumped underneath Jacobs out of turn number 2, down the back straightaway. Will Jacobs come back at him down low? Yes, but Ronnie Daniels goes low as well, and the checker is out. Ronnie Daniels takes the 4th heat.
Brock, this is some of the best heat racing we have ever seen in all the years we've been doing the World of Outlaws. A sensational night here at Knoxville. Ronnie Daniels will tell you this is about as good a dirt track as you'll find. It is still damp, it is smooth, there's no holes in it, there's a cushion up high, a tacky line down low, all the ingredients you need for one incredible night. In the infield pit area, this is chief mechanic on the number 8 Wolfgang car, Gary Deuce Terrell, checking it over, and he's got a flashlight. In fact, he's going to use it as a straight edge to see if the rear axle is straight, and he finds out that it isn't. He's also liable to find out there's not a straight tube in that entire car as hard as it hit the wall. Well, the fans certainly hoping that they'll see Doug Wolfgang in the B feature to come. We'll follow that story. More fortunate were Ronnie Daniels, Kenny Jacobs, Jeff Tuttle, and Tommy Scott as they all transferred to the A main. Let's go to Brock for the winner.
Did you feel you could run him down? I know you were. We were watching. You're kind of edging up on him, but you know, there's always a question when you get up near him.
Right. Well, I was looking at it there for a while. It looked like he was staying out there in front of me, and I couldn't quite catch him. You know, just kind of run along about the same distance, and I found me a spot of maybe cutting a little bit off coming off of 4, and I noticed I gained a little bit right there, and it Well, after I gained a couple of times right there, I saw that it looked like I might be able to go, and I went ahead and ran it a couple more times, and it worked. Carbone has got us, Steve Carbone's got us a new motor, and this is the first night we've raced, and it's running good, and we got a new car.
Well, that's great. Congratulations. We'll see you in the AMA.
All righty, thank you.
Good job.
Talking about Steve Carbone, a former top fuel champion in NHRA drag racing, now a championship engine builder in the sprint car crowd. Well, there you're looking at Kenny Jacobs, and Gary Gerald is there to speak with him.
Kenny, can we get a word with you here? Yeah. Obviously disappointed you don't get the win. You say there was a problem? You got something in your vision?
I come out of 4 coming down for the white flag, and something sprayed all over my shield. And I thought maybe something broke. I looked down to see if something broke going into 1. I slowed down a little bit. That guy, Ronnie Daniels, just drove right by me. I don't know, whatever it was must have come off that lap car. I was getting ready to lap, and it just caught me off guard. Just messed up, so I did.
Well, I guess the good news is there's nothing wrong with the car. You'll have a chance to try to earn some of it back in the feature event.
Yeah, we need to pick up a little speed, though. We're not going real fast, so we got to go to work here. We're not real quick yet.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, you can see the dirt blasting that these helmets and shields take. If you're not in the lead, you get a face full of mud. It's just as simple as that. All right, here is our final heat of the night getting ready. And Brock Yates, there's some heavy metal, some long ball hitters, again at the back of the pack.
Oh, absolutely. 3H, Rocky Hodges, one of the best runners in the Midwest. He's here, a regular at over the years at Knoxville. Jack Houdenchild, and in the back, that beautiful black #1 Sammy Swindell. So, always, as we've seen here, in all 5 of these heat races, they put some real killers in that scratch position way at the back of the field. And let's hope, though, that Sammy Swindell has a little better luck than Doug Wolfgang, who was taken out in the 4th heat. Right as the green flag dropped, as is happening right now in heat #5.
All right, they are underway, blasting down into turn #1.
But look at this, the black #19, Bob Weed. He almost loses as they go through #2 and back out into the back straightaway, but Weed gathers it up as we go back to the leader, and that's the yellow 3H, a Rocky Hodges, a local favorite and a hard charger, down into turn #1, and right next to him is the 1B of Bobby Burrow, that red automobile, but Rocky Hodges right now stretching it out.
And sneaking up on the back of Burrow is the black #1 car of Sammy Swindell. Nobody smoother than Swindell, and look at that. Blows by him as if Burrow was tied to the crash wall.
Sammy Swindell now sets his sights on Rocky Hodges. Remember, we saw Bobby Allen kind of work his way up toward the front, but Mark Kinzer, just like Sammy Swindell, runs right to the front like a shot. Of course, Swindell famous for his very aggressive starts.
Oh, yeah. No one tries harder from lap #1 to lap #10 than Sammy Swindell, and he pays the price occasionally getting upside down. But okay, there was a clean pass for the lead on Rocky Hodges.
Well, Sammy Swindell suddenly, from all the way in the back, has moved right into the lead and blows away from Rocky. Rocky just cannot keep up with that black #1.
As Swindell runs away, we check for 3rd spot. 1B, the red car of Bobby Burrows, and the 19 car. Oh, we've got 37. Mike Thomas is off course on the backstretch. No caution, though. The green stays out, and the fight continues right here for that 3rd spot. The black 19 car is Bob Weave. He's got the favored line going down into turn #4 on the inside. The red car of Bobby Barrow trying to do something up high and can't make it work thus far.
Well, Weave manages to eke out about a 4-car length lead down into turn #1 to hold on to that 3rd position. Falling back now is Burrow. Burrow just can't seem to hang in there.
And the guys that have a real challenge on their hands are right here for the 5th spot. 5L, that is Jock Hoddenchild in the black car, and 36, Greg Hodman. Hodman's car is the orange machine right there behind Hoddenchild.
So Jack Houdenchild normally runs up front in this kind of competition, but just can't seem to get it together tonight. The race car down on power, apparently, because he's hanging on to 5th spot. And that isn't good enough right now. Only 4 cars will transfer, as we said earlier, to the AMA.
But they are closing in on Bobby Barrow. And here again, we look at that race for the 5th position. That is Greg Hodden, Jack Hoddenchild. Hoddenchild in the black 5L. He knows what he has to do, and that's to move up close on 1B Bobby Barrow and pass him to get that 4th position and go to that AMA.
And here comes Hodden down low to take away 5th spot from Jack Houdenchild. Down the back straight. Here's Sammy Swindell taking the win. An undisputed, easy win for him.
Before the final transfer spot, One deep, Bobby Barrow trying to hold off Greg Hodnett in the 3G car, and he does it. It will be Barrow transferring Hodnett, and Howden's child will go to the B main.
As Sammy Swindell cools off on the back straightaway, heads for his pit, where they'll obviously make a few adjustments, but I wouldn't imagine a whole lot because that race car was perfectly hooked up in this 5th heat.
Swindell's drive here may be even a little more impressive than Mark Kinzer back in heat number 1. Well, word comes from the pits that the number 8 car of Doug Wolfgang is done for the night. And no surprise, a bent-up car and a beat-up driver, just not a good combination. But with a perfect combination was Sammy Swindell winning heat number 5. Rocky Hodges, a nice, steady drive. Bob Weed, Bobby Burrell round out the qualifiers. Greg Hodnett, he was a bit disappointed. He'll have to go to the B main. Right now, let's go to Gary Gerald with the winner.
Well, Sammy Swindell, we're used to seeing you win here with regularity at Knoxville. I guess the question is, are you satisfied with the way the car's working in this 10-lap heat?
Yeah, the car's working pretty good. We're a little bit flat. You know, it's not running quite as good as I'd like it to, but, you know, the car's handling real well, and we need to do a little something to get a little bit quicker. She's laying down on me a little bit on the big end, and can't do that later.
Who makes that decision? Is that your call or your mechanics, or is it a joint operation?
Well, it's kind of my call, I guess. You know, we just got to get her going a little better down at the other end, and so we have to make some changes toward that, and you know, hope we go the right way.
All right, let's check on that final transfer spot with Brock.
Gary, I'm with Bobby Burrow. Had a super race and ended up 4th in that transfer spot, and you guys were really going at it out there.
Yeah, our car started getting a little loose towards it about halfway through the through the heat race there, and you know, we got to find out how to fix it. Went good off the start, then it started getting looser and looser. So we've been having problems earlier and getting the motor to run. Now it's running now. Got to work on everything else.
You think it's tire or bar setup or what?
Oh, bar setup, little of everything right now because we haven't got to run yet too much.
Well, you got a little time for the main, and fortunately you don't have to worry about the B main, so you got a little bit of time.
Yeah, that'll work okay.
Go get him.
Thanks.
You will never hear a sprint car driver proclaim his car absolutely perfect. Maybe there is no such thing. You know, this place is very special for the drivers, special place for us too. We thank you all for your support. We'll be back with the B main. Stay with us from Knoxville. Well, the B main is getting ready, and that is usually where you find an awful lot of excitement and action because desperate men do desperate things to get to the A. Right now, let's join Brock Yates in the infield.
Well, Steve, I'm with Doug, who's now feeling a little bit better when I had a brief conversation with you out on a racetrack. First of all, the obvious question, you just got tangled up, I would imagine, in that start, and nothing you could do about it.
I just come down the inside, and because it's usually the safest spot to come, like going in turn 1, everybody wants to slip out. So I moved to the inside and had a nice drive down the inside, and then a guy come crossed in front of me, and I had no chance of missing him. I think I ticked him, and went into the inside guardrail.
Well, we wish you luck, and most importantly, we're glad you're okay.
Yeah, I'm all right. I just got shook up a little bit, and I couldn't see right for a minute, but I'm towed straight ahead now. I'm all right.
Good deal. We're glad. Thanks, Doug. Doug Wolfgang, very tough man.
Very tough, very durable, and right now wishes he had a race car that was able. All right, here we go, Brock Yates, the B main. And let's recall that you have to finish 1 or 2 in this. There's no inversion here. 12 laps of racing. And the real muscle is in the top 3 or 4 rows. What do you say, Brock?
Yeah, Jack Hudchild, of course, had a really awful race. Pat Moore ran well, remember, in one of the early heats. So these guys have a shot at it. At the back, normally these guys are running on a real tight budget. The cars are really not up to absolutely first-class levels. They're struggling, and oftentimes young drivers just getting a start. But it's a great opportunity and a great honor, really, for anybody to get into the field here at Knoxville. So these guys, they'll be driving as hard as they can.
And the first lap of the B main is always where the World of Outlaws officials all just kind of hold their breath because anything can happen.
Oh, yeah. As you said earlier, desperate men do desperate things. As the field forms out down through turn number 3, off turn number 4, and here they come toward that white line across turn number 4. The green is out.
And blasted down into turn number 1, the orange car, 3G of Greg Hodnett. He's out in front by a couple of car lengths over Tim Monson and Jack Housen's child.
Jack Hodenschild, one of the best, able to set up a sprint car to run up on the cushion. And that's a difficult chore, believe me. Only a very few guys can make that work consistently.
Well, that's the race for third. Here's the race for the lead. The orange car, Greg Hodnett, and the 01W, the black machine of Tim Monson. Hodnett pitches it sideways, up high, trying to get that drive wheel right on the edge of the cushion, and he did it beautifully.
Hodnett, yet another one of that gang of good sprint car drivers out of the Memphis, Tennessee area, managing to hold off Tim Monson in that black 01W.
Well, the field pretty well spread out around this big old half mile. And what can you say about the racetrack surface? It has been prepared impeccably. It is as good right now, if not much better than it was with heat number 1. Doesn't show any wear and tear whatsoever. Well, if we look back through the pack to right here, the 11th spot, there's a good race. The yellow car of Dirk Van Eater, 77D, and the black car of Kenny French, number 25.
Kenny French from Washington, Iowa, regular here at Knoxville, doing a good job. But as I said earlier, these race cars are oftentimes pretty tired old pieces. These guys trying to run on a budget, oftentimes not spending as much for an entire rig as some of the frontline teams will spend for their new engines with the full titanium connecting rods and all the double zoomy stuff, Steve.
We're looking at the race for fifth, 51, Larry Hiller with the white car, one in Pat Moore, a youngster in another white automobile. You're right, Brock, the engines in 1 year have gone from $20,000 to about $28,000. Now that is inflation.
Great race for second right now. A pair of black automobiles. The 1W, Tim Monson, and the 5L of Jack Hodenschild. Look at him fly. They bracket Sky Hinkle in the 5H. Just blast by him on either side as they continue that duel.
And let's remember that second position here in the B main is the final transfer to the A. Jack Hodenschild trying to take it away from Tim Monson. Hodenschild up high in the 5L car, and he has got second position.
Right now he does anyway, unless Monson gets low on him as they head down into turn number 3. But it looks as if Hodenschild is going to make it stick.
But they've got some traffic up in front of them, and right now it is a lap they put on 34, Tim Deaver, that purple car. Now, just to get in the A main, even if you finished absolutely last, is worth $250 and a heck of a lot more as you move up through it later on. Hodenschild hungering for a little more money.
Well, right now, he's pulled out a pretty good lead over Monson and has established himself pretty solidly in that second position. But Monson now coming back at him on, he's taking the low side and making it work as these guys move through this field. Remember now, though, the 3G car of Greg Hodnett is out of your picture and holding on to a good, solid lead. Although now with some clear racetrack in front of him, it's possible that Hodenschild can reel him in.
You know, Hodenschild, the black 5L car, looks like a slot car. He stays on the top of the racetrack, as you said he would earlier, Bob. He isn't even tempted to go low in turn 1 and to cut that corner, square it off. We are on the very last lap of the B main. Only the top 2 will race in the final to come, and Hodenschild is lapping yet another driver. That is 11W Kevin Whitworth. And Jack has pulled away from Tim Monson. And if he can keep it just on the racetrack, we'll get that second position. There's the winner, 3G Greg Hodnett. And there's second place, Jack Hodenschild. Only those two go on to the A main. For a B main, that was rather uneventful, actually, after I gave it the big build-up, Brock.
It was, as we watch Greg Hodnett from Memphis, Tennessee, head for victory lane and the A feature. We'll see him later. We'll be back at Knoxville.
Hi, I'm Cotton Ivy asking you a question. Do you know why friends shake hands left-handed? Because only true friends expose their hearts to one another. Let me be your friend and ask you to take care of your heart, and it'll last a lifetime. Join me in supporting the American Heart Association. Through your generous donations, research and education saves lives. So be a friend to your heart. Give generously to the American Heart Association.
If you want to save hundreds of dollars on your water heating costs each year, you need the Spa 2000. For only $24.95, the Spa 2000 shower head will give you a lifetime of satisfying showers and is guaranteed to save you at least 3 times what you pay for it in the first year. This energy-saving shower head comes with a lifetime warranty and a risk-free money-back guarantee. Order a Spa 2000 for every shower in your home so you can double or triple your savings. Take Bruce's advice and order your Spa 2000 now. Call 1-800-359-9000, operator 600, or send check or money order for $24.95 plus shipping and handling to The Home Advisor Show, 2135 Southwest Wynwood, Portland, Oregon, 97225. Call 1-800-359-9000, operator 600.
Welcome back to Knoxville, Iowa. It's time for the richest and final race of this Skoal Shootout, the A-Main. And on the pole in the 1X car will be Ronnie Daniels. And Ronnie, when you're on the pole, you kind of wish you had a one-groove racetrack to keep them behind you. I don't think we have that.
No, I don't think so. I believe you can run two places out there right now pretty good. But we got a good starting spot anyway. That's what we was looking for.
Where do you first get on that pedal? Where do you try to maybe not cheat the flag, but push it to the limit?
Well, when you start getting down over here close, and like in the middle of 3 and 4, you know, coming off of 4, you can try to get after it before you get to that line if you can. But he's watching pretty close. The flagman is. It's hard to get a jump. He's going to watch them.
Have a safe trip.
I sure appreciate it. Thank you for coming by.
Okay. Let's go to Brock Yates.
I'm with Joey Kuhn. It's going to start on the outside of the front row. And, Joey, I'll tell you what, if you can hang on, there could be a big payday tonight.
Yeah, we're kind of hoping so. You know, this is more the kind of tracks we're a little bit used to, where you're basically just flat out and trying to keep everybody else behind you. You know, there's a lot of good guys starting right there that know this place obviously a lot better than me, but we're going to give it our best shot.
Race car feeling pretty good for you right now?
It felt pretty good for a while in the heat race. Then we had a problem with tire stagger on the car and kind of got loose there at the end. But other than that, it's felt pretty close all night.
Okay, well, go get him. Good luck.
Thank you.
And now let's go over to Gary Gerald.
Well, Brock, as we move inside row number 2, car number 97, Tommy Estes Jr. is the fellow who's about to climb into the cockpit. Tell us about what it's going to take to win this against some outstanding competition, which you always find at Knoxville.
Yeah, we're just going to have to be pretty smooth and careful the first lap, make sure everybody gets through turn 1, then we can settle down and race. And I'd like to be starting on the front row, Bo, but I guess we'll have to take second row.
Any one thing a key?
No, you're just going to have to get out and run. You got guys starting behind you. I mean, they're going to chase your tail all the way to the end. You're just going to have to run all the way.
Let's check the outside of row 2 with Steve Evans.
Thank you, Gary. And starting on the outside of the second row will be the number 7 car, and this man from Oklahoma, Andy Hillenberg. Andy, the fans at home are used to seeing you in your own black cars. Now you're kind of a hired gun for the Berry brothers out of California.
Well, we're going to run a few races for them, probably till like September. We may go through California. I'm not sure yet. Next year I'll be back driving the black number 2, and it'll be all my own stuff again.
What's the difference in driving for somebody else?
Well, mostly it's how your operation's put together. Driving for someone else, sometimes the driver has more confidence, sometimes he doesn't have as much confidence. Myself, it's a little easier on me because I don't have to do quite as much work, get to play golf a little bit. And
when the motor blows up, it isn't yours.
That's correct, too. But when you're running your own program, you're a little more confident, and you get to, it's just a little more at ease, really.
You've got a great starting position. Go get them.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, here's Brock again.
Starting on the inside of the third row, the man has run very strong here tonight, but I'll tell you what, Sammy, I was a little surprised with your qualifying time. I reckoned you would be a little bit quicker, but then you showed some real strength in the heat. You just seem to have everything hooked up real well now.
Yeah, well, we're a little off on the motor. We wound up being a little bit too high on the gear when we went out to qualify. They moved down on the racetrack a little bit, so for when we went out, we were only a few hundredths off of being, second quick. So it wasn't that bad, but we still got a little problem we got to work around. It's not quite hitting as hard as I'd like it to, so we changed some nozzles in it, and hope that'll straighten it out.
Well, in the heat, it seemed real strong. I mean, you just blew by everybody, and you were going away. Do you feel like that race car is going to behave for you in a hay main like that?
Well, I think the car's fine. It's still just not quite exactly what I'd like. We're having a little trouble down on the big end of the track. The motor's not running as strong as I'd like, so we made some changes, and I hope we've got it. Hope it went in the right direction. The car's still fast like it is, but it should be better.
Okay, well, we'll be watching. Good luck.
Thanks.
Okay. And now let's go to Gary with a starter on the outside of the 4th row.
Well, the man that can't be overlooked is the night's fast time qualifier, the winner of the first heat, Mark Kinzer in the 5M car. They invert the top 8. That means you start outside row 4. How big a challenge now to get the victory in this feature?
I'll tell you, it's going to be tough. I've got 6, 7 good guys right there in front of me, and they're all really quick, so it's going to be real tough from where we're sitting, and we just hope to be up there at the end of the race and get more points and start up, you know, farther on down the road. So we're just wanting to run as good as we can tonight.
You try to do it on the start of the green flag, or do you try to do it methodically through the course of the race?
Well, with the guys I got starting in front of me, you need to do it as quick as possible. So possibly the first turn or not, you might get in trouble. Wolfie did a little earlier, but these guys here in front of me now, I can trust them all and know which way they're going. So hopefully we can make a move real quick.
I'll tell you, the night's fast qualifier is ready. Steve?
Well, Gary, as you well know, starting on the inside of the 4th row is a real favorite here every year at the Knoxville National. He's got a big grin, the 1A driver, Bobby Allen. You got a great surface tonight. It could be one of the best races.
Yeah, the racetrack's really good tonight. It's not choppy or anything. It's got 2 grooves, like I said before, and I think it'll be a good race.
Tell me your strategy on that very first lap. Do you try to move up quickly, get down low, or get up high? Where do you go?
Well, me, I try to more or less. Usually I try to get down low and get out of their way and try to get to a spot to where I think I'm all right. And I let them string out a little bit because I run this thing on my own, and whatever it makes, it's what keeps it going. And right now I've only got 1 race car, so I try to make it to the big race and do the best I can.
We hope to see you right up front with them.
And usually there's a yell, and then it backs everything back up.
Okay. Bobby's going to strap in along with 22 other drivers. We'll be back with 20 laps of racing, the richest race of the night. Some call it the A-Main, some call it the Beecher. Whatever you call it, it's the richest, most important race of the night here in Knoxville, Iowa at the Skoal Shootout. And Gary Gerald, well, Gary has a pretty incredible view as the field forms up for the salute to the crowd.
Now, Steve, you talk about the greatest seat in the house. I think I've got it right now. This is the traditional World of Outlaws salute to the crowd and the thousands at Knoxville coming to their feet as we come off turn 4 and onto the front straightaway to salute this magnificent field of 22 of the best open-wheel race cars you'll ever find. It's a 4x4 alignment, and you hear the crescendo of noise now start to build as the drivers in turn acknowledge this great crowd. It's one of the magic moments at Knoxville or anywhere where the World of Outlaws race. And I think everybody's pumped and everybody's ready.
I hope Gary Gerald is not under any delusions that if he falls out of that truck, these guys are going to stop.
All right, let's get the lineup here. Ronnie Daniels, Joey Kuhn out of Pennsylvania on the front row. A couple of Oklahoma professionals, Tommy Estes Jr., Andy Hillenberg in row 2. Swindell, Stevie Smith, a veteran and a young guy on the move in row 3. Bobby Allen, the veteran. Mark Kinzer, the young lion, in row 4.
And Brock, this is a no excuses racetrack. You can't say, well, I couldn't pass low. I couldn't get a grip high. This is a racetrack that will challenge every man's skills.
Oh, don't forget now, the first 4 rows are inverted, so theoretically the quickest guys in the place are Bobby Allen and Mark Kinzer. But as you well know, conditions change, race car setups change, and if they made the right choices, they'll be tough. But then again, wrong tire choice or whatever, and they could be in trouble.
Absolutely, and you notice trailing the field, he earned his right into the A-Main through the B-Main, is Jack Housen's trial. And a bit earlier, Brock Yates had a chance to talk to him and was used to starting up front.
Jack Hodenshaw doing a little adjustment on his helmet as he gets ready to go in the A-Main. Jack, relatively uneventful B-Main. They can get a little hairy here, but that worked out pretty good.
Yeah, we just been working on the motor and a little bit of the car tonight. It's the first time I've been in the car, and it's probably good we run the B-Main, get to know things a little bit better, and I think we'll be all right for the A now. I think we got...
What'd you find out?
Well, we just find out what the car likes a little bit and what to change on the car, so we're changing a few things on it now, and I think we'll be all right then.
Good. Go get them.
All right, thank you.
Good job.
Nice to see some optimism from the young man who has been bouncing around really from team to team trying to find himself. All right, they're out of the 4x4 and into the race mode. Cruising into turn number 3, out of 3, into 4, looking for the green flag.
You see that white line right across the center of turn number 4. They cross it and the hammer is down. We've got to start. Doug Clark waves the green, and Ronnie Daniels leads him down into turn number 1 and 2 and out onto the back straightaway. The number 2 car, Joey Kuhn, battling for second place with the 7th car, the white 7 of Andy Hillenberg, and the black number 1 of Sammy Swindell, who got a great start. Carved his way right up among the leaders all of a sudden out of the 3rd row.
And here we see the white 2K car. That is Joey Kuhn. He is in the 2nd spot. Behind him, number 7 is Andy Hillenberg. And Sammy Swindell doing a nice job. He got a great start, but he's not going to press his hand too hard yet.
No, and this racetrack, as you said earlier, is just perfect. It's about 5 lanes wide all the way around here. Gary told us earlier that this racetrack is very wide, 50 to 60 feet, and everybody is using almost all of it. Notice the cushion is way up near the fence, which gives a race driver like Sammy Swindell the ability to move all over the racetrack. And there you see the number 2 automobile of Joey Kuhn still holding on to 2nd spot and doing a good job of it out of Pennsylvania. This is his first time here, remember, in Knoxville, and this is a difficult racetrack to set up for, but Joey has found the handle and is doing a fine job. Right behind him, the 7 car, Andy Hillenberg, in that new automobile, that new ride is. He's doing a good job, but not good enough to hold off Sammy Swindell, who snuck underneath him to take over the 3rd spot.
Oh, yeah, Swindell just slashed by, and there's problems with 2K Joey Kuhn. He is slowed up in turn number 2. Sammy Swindell is now in the 2nd position. A masterful drive in there. Yep, the yellow comes out from starter Doug Clark. That is going to slow this field down. Well, I tell you, that is really a shame for 2K Joey Kuhn. You know, he told us earlier, you can see the pride in his face. His first time here ever in Knoxville, and he was running up front in the A main. But no longer. That car lies silent against the wall, waiting for either a tow.
Got 1 lap to green here after 5 laps completed in the A main at Knoxville. They have restarted Joey Kuhn's automobile, although he is now at the back of the pack rather than in 2nd position. Ronnie Daniels continues to lead it. Sammy Swindell, Hillenberg, Stevie Smith, and Mark Kinzer rounding out the top 5. And watch out for Kinzer, Steve Evans.
And already Bobby Allen, the 1A car, has moved up to the 6th spot. And Tommy Estes Jr. is in 7th, and we have a restart. Look at Swindell.
Down low on the apron. He jumped underneath Ronnie Daniels to take the lead. There is nobody in sprint car racing better on starts than Sammy Swindell. As you said earlier, Steve Evans, he can make some mistakes once in a while and get tangled up. But boy, if he makes it through cleanly, look out for him.
All right, and look at 5M, Mark Kinzer. Kinzer trying to take that 2nd spot away from Ronnie Daniels. Swindell pushed Daniels into 2nd, and now Mark Kinzer trying to push it down into 3rd on the inside. The blue and white 5M car. Mark Kinzer has got the spot.
Right, he uses the low groove just like Sammy Swindell did. So here he comes after Sammy, and out of turn number 2, he takes the lead.
This crowd has gone absolutely crazy as young Mark Kinzer, just recently returning to action after an injury, has taken the lead away from Sammy Swindell.
And here's the battle for 3rd place. The red 77 of Stevie Smith against the blue and white 1A of Bobby Allen. Down the back straightaway. Allen staying low. Traditionally likes to run the low groove. And Stevie Smith stays up high to keep that 3rd spot, but only by inches as Allen squeezes down underneath him.
That was experience on the part of Bobby Allen. Allen just outboxed Stevie Smith. Stevie Smith knows it and is trying to say, wait, you'll only do that to me 1 time. This is a terrific fight. The youngster and the veteran.
Bobby Allen, such a professional, always runs that race car nice and straight. Used to be really spectacular, but now, as he said, he runs his own equipment, has to be conservative, has to be careful, plays his game very cagely.
And I think he fought just as hard as he could with Stevie Smith and thought, wait a minute, he's got a little more muscle than me. It's time to settle down.
There's your leader, Mark Kinzer, who seems to be running in a class by himself right now. He got past Sammy Swindell in convincing fashion. Remember, he set quick time here, started in the 8th spot after winning his heat, and is just blown by everybody.
And here again is that race for 3rd spot. 77 car, the red machine, and Stevie Smith from Pennsylvania. Another man from the Keystone State, Bobby Allen. Allen wants to get back into a head-to-head duel for that spot, and we've got it again.
Bobby Allen just sticking down there right on the apron and doing a good job. There goes Stevie Smith. the door on the old veteran, and Bobby Allen moved right underneath him one more time.
This is just almost like an instant replay of the last time these two swapped that spot. Now here's Stevie Smith. Does he indeed have more horsepower? He'll need it the long way around. Oh, yes, he does.
He's running about probably 200 yards farther than Bobby Allen on each lap. And he's just using that momentum, that flat-out momentum on that high side to maintain what is now a little bit of a lead. Last lap, white flag lap, and Bobby Allen has fallen back.
And Mark Kinzer of the Blue and White 5M car has proven that his qualifying time was no fluke, and he can run those kind of numbers with or without traffic on the racetrack. He has won the A feature. He has won the Skoal Shootout. 5M Mark Kinzer from Indiana. What a drive this fit young man put on tonight.
A perfect show, really. Won everything he entered, quick time, won his heat in convincing style, and goes on to win the A-Main.
About that A-Main. The youngster, Mark Kinzer, 5M, won at Swindell, second. Stevie Smith, third. Bobby Allen, fourth, followed by Ronnie Daniels. And here's Brock with the winner.
All right. Mark, congratulations. Took you almost as long to get the helmet off to run that feature.
Yeah, I run my helmet pretty tight, you know. You can't get them tight enough. We had a tragic with Rich Boger. I'd like to say hi to his family. He's a hell of a racer.
Great job. Yeah, you were quick all night, but you just ran Sammy down without a whole lot of trouble.
Well, I got to run in the low groove there, and seen his help come out there and show him where I was at. And, of course, Sammy had been running high all night, and he didn't quite know how to do it, and it worked to our advantage. It might have been tougher if it had stayed up high.
Okay, congratulations. Super job, Mark.
Thank you.
Okay, great effort. Mark Kinzer. And now let's go to Gary with his second-place finisher.
Well, Sammy Swindell, you made changes. It looked good early, and then on that restart, suddenly there was that 5M car and Mark Kinzer. Tough night.
Well, yeah, you know, that kind of helped him out a little bit, but yeah, I don't know if we could have stayed in front, really. The motor just really never ran clean. We made some changes, and it wasn't what we needed to do. So, yeah, that was about it. It just never really ran clean all night. So.
You knew that actually going in, and you knew that it might be a handicap. Is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we made some changes, but we didn't hit on a problem. You know, we've got maybe a mag that's a little bit down or something, because it just wouldn't run clean. You know, it never would get any heat in the motor, and it just wouldn't run, really.
Well, a man who's won here many times in the past has to be content with second on this night. Let's check in with Steve Evans now with Stevie Smith.
Well, thank you, Gary. A rather tired Stevie Smith coming out of the 77 car. You know, we could see the desire in the cockpit, just couldn't catch him.
Yeah, the desire was there. We sure were pumped up, and I don't know. I thought we had a pretty good chance of winning, but I guess it didn't work out the way we planned it. But we were trying hard, and we had a lot of fun.
And the racetrack certainly was cooperating.
The racetrack's excellent. It's always been since we've been coming here, and Knoxville does a heck of a job, and we are sure happy to be here.
You did a heck of a job as well. Again, congratulations. A nice third-place finish.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Okay, let's go to Brock with Bobby Allen.
Bobby, in a situation like that, I know you run this place flat out. You just got to kind of sit there and let it happen, don't you? I mean, you can't. You're just kind of stuck there, aren't you? There's not much you can do. You can't drive it any harder, can you?
Well, sometimes you can move around the racetrack a little bit, and maybe the track might come to you or something. That's what I thought might happen, because I was a little bit too tight, and then it seemed like it still didn't help me. And maybe I should have moved up a little bit more or something. I don't know yet.
Well, you never will know, but good job anyway. Good for it.
Great cars, great drivers, and a great track. Can't ask for much more than that. I'm Steve Evans for Brock Yates and Gary Gerald. Thanks for joining us from Knoxville.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is Harvey M. Palish. Produced and directed by John B. Mullen. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by this special offer from Diamond P.